last week, thanks to Fox, as that put the Arizona Cardinals up on the Eagles 35-31. He was announced that he is he's a recipient of the Arizona chapter of Pro Football Writers of America Lloyd Herberg MVP Award for this season. And joining us now is part of the Pro Football Writers of America, Howard Balzer, joins us down on the right to guest line. How you doing? Happy New Year, Howard.
Thanks, Shane. Happy New Year to you, and of course all the legion of listeners in listener land. Happy New Year to everyone.
So, Buda Baker heading to the Pro Bowl, 6-time and 7 in a 7-year career. Starter for the NFC, lone representative again this year for the Cardinals. If they had to have another Cardinal on it, say Buda decides not to play, and it's like baseball where, hey, we got to have somebody from every team, who would be the guy? Would it be Matt Prater? I mean, he only missed 3 field goals and 1 extra point.
No, you can make the case for Prater, and he was one of the suggestions as we conducted the voting for the team MVP. But
okay.
Connor was the clear winner.
Sure.
But yeah, you could make the case for Prater. I don't know who else. I mean, when you really look at it in terms of the entire season. Certainly with the way Trey McBride played in the second half, you could probably make a case for the second half MVP and maybe even Kyler Murray for that matter. But, obviously it's not a roster filled with a lot of excellent players yet. And that's, obviously that's what they're trying to build. And we'll see. I think this could be one of the more fascinating off seasons, which we're going to be within not too distant future of how this team, it goes after it in this offseason with all the cap space they're going to have, and with all the draft picks they're going to have. Obviously, this roster is going to look a whole lot different when they head to training camp at the end of next July.
Yeah, Howard, I agree with that. I think that James Conner was the bell cow for this team. I pretty much consistently, you talk about Trey McBride, but, he's got one more year. I believe he turns 30 next year. Do you dare extend him? Because he truly was, I felt, one of the more consistent offensive players to get this team to win at least 2 out of the 4 games.
No, it's a great question on the extension because he was consistent, made big plays, and, who knows, what his numbers would be had he not missed the 4 games with a knee injury. That's the one thing that usually happens with him. He does miss games during seasons. But, in terms of extending him, I'm not saying the Cardinals wouldn't consider that.
Yeah.
But you also have to be very careful when you get guys, to that age. And you can't, I mean, there's some people who thought that when the Cardinals, signed him, after he signed a 1-year deal here 2 years ago, and then they gave him a 3-year deal, there were people saying he was making too much money. And so I don't know what the number would be, what the years would be, but, there's not too many 30-year-old running backs in that neighborhood that are getting contract extensions. Maybe a couple years. Maybe you don't really have a need to lower his cap next year because of how much cap space they have. So that wouldn't be the motivation for it. And I would think they'll probably, maybe add a year. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you can make a case for it, but you can't go crazy with it because he does just his style of play leads to some injuries. And he's, like you said, he's getting up there in years.
Well, I think the most like-kind comp would be an Adrian Peterson. How well he played as a running back till, was it 34, 35, and the 1 year with the Cardinals. But he runs that hard, maybe not quite as fast, but he'd be a comp where he was playing, 1-year contracts over a 5-year period toward the end of his career?
Yeah, near the end, Near the end, he was doing that. I don't know, the 1 year he missed with an ACL.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he didn't really miss a year with an ACL. He injured his ACL late in one season, then was back for the next year and went over 2,000 yards rushing and was league MVP. And so he didn't have that many injuries. Connor seems to have those nicks here and there, and he'll miss 2, 3, 4 games. Never misses a lot, but he does miss some games. And so that'll be an interesting decision for the Cardinals. Hey guys, they're gonna have an interesting decision now on DJ Humphrey.
Yes.
Here's a guy that just tore his ACL late in the season. Obviously, he's under contract for over $15 million in base salary, none of which is guaranteed. And so, what do they decide to do with that? And does that create another hole on the roster because you just you just don't absolutely know when he's going to be back and available to play. So obviously they've got a lot of different decisions to make with this roster in the offseason.
Howard Balzer is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Howard, take me to the announcement by Jonathan Gannon saying that I've got my franchise quarterback. Did that really surprise anybody, or have you heard that they were all in on Kyler pretty much from the get-go?
I think for the most part, they were in on him from the get-go. And as Gannon said, I'm more convicted about him now than I was when I took the job. And he made it clear at the time one of the reasons he took it is because they had Murray. And I think there were some who say, well, is he just saying that? Does he really believe it? Obviously, they had to evaluate him through this entire year and to see what he did with the rehab from the knee, see how he attacked learning the offense when he knew he couldn't play for a while, and how he would interact with the new coaching staff, with a new offense. And I think as Gannon said, the key thing he said is he's done everything we've asked him to do, and he's done it at a high level. So I don't think it was surprising. I thought it's been trending like this for a while. In terms of making an announcement, he was asked the question, basically, is there any doubt that he will be your quarterback next year? And that was on the radio the other day, of course. And when we met with him yesterday at his regular media deal, someone asked him, were you surprised by the question, that you were asked that question? And he said, yeah, I was. Because all you got to do is watch the tape. Well, obviously the question is there because no matter what everybody has said about him, all throughout the season, his growth and all that, Drew Petzing and everybody, there are those in the back of their mind saying, well, they got to say that. But are they really committed to him for the future? Will they move on and maybe try to get another quarterback? That chatter is, has been out there. And so I think, to a degree, Gannon shouldn't be surprised that the question was asked. But, he answered it pretty forcibly. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And so I felt all along that at least what they were going to do was bring him back next year. And because of the cap ramifications of moving him, what would he really get from another team if he wanted to try to trade him? The cap situation goes down after next year. And I'm not saying they're looking at it to make a move after the 2024 season, but that would be the time if you wanted to, and he didn't make the growth that you expected next season, that maybe you would look at doing something. But I certainly don't think that's in their minds to do that. I think their big motivation and their big goal will be to improve the team around him and have more second half like they had last week against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Any New Year's resolutions, Howard?
Do I have any New Year's?
Yeah.
Oh, I usually don't make any. I just try to be my best self every day. And I think that, going into a new year, I will continue, to try to do that and keep grinding and keep going. And, I'll keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I possibly can. Good.
All right. Well, we'll let you know if it's working. So we'll keep you up. We'll keep you up to speed every Thursday. All right, Howard. So,
That sounds good to me.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. That's Howard Balzer joining us here on Rock Manooch with Jimmy B. And you can always follow him on his